There are two words hiding inside a parenthesis on the back of almost every jar of pasta sauce in America, and the companies are counting on you never reading them. They sit right after the very first ingredient, in smaller type, inside brackets. And what they tell you is that the sauce in your hand did not start with tomatoes. It started with tomato paste, and then water was added back in to turn it into something that pours. That single parenthesis is what legally allows a company to sell you water at tomato prices, pour in sugar to cover what the tomatoes couldn't do on their own, and use industrial seed oil where olive oil is supposed to be. While the front of the jar shows you a sun-drenched Italian hillside, I pulled the published ingredient list on every major jar in the pasta aisle. Not reviews, not taste tests, the actual ingredient statements from the manufacturers themselves. 4 brands that are not giving you what the label implies, 3 that genuinely are. And by the end of this, you'll be able to read any jar in that aisle in about 5 seconds. One brand is coming in at number 1 on the avoid list, and I want you to sit with this before we start. It's one of the best-selling sauces in the country. It's been in American pantries for generations, and its second ingredient, before the salt, before the sugar, before a single herb or spice, is not a tomato. You'll recognize the name. Here's the one rule that explains every single entry on this list. Turn the jar around and read the first ingredient. If it says tomato puree, water, tomato paste, that sauce was reconstructed. Paste is what's left after tomatoes are cooked down and the water is boiled off. Adding water back doesn't restore a tomato. It makes a tomato-flavored liquid. If instead it says whole peeled tomatoes or diced tomatoes, actual tomatoes went into the jar. Read the parenthesis. That's the whole test. Keep it in your head for the next 15 minutes. We're counting down from the mildest offender to the one that surprised me most, then flipping it and giving you 3 jars that are genuinely worth your money. Let's get into it. Number 4. Barilla Marinara. I'm starting here on purpose, because this one is close to good, and that makes it the perfect place to calibrate your eye. Pick up the jar and look through the glass before you even turn it around. You can see structure in there, visible pieces, texture, a sauce that isn't uniformly smooth. That's a real signal, and it's the first thing I want you looking for. Now the ingredient list, and here's where Barilla earns real credit. The first ingredient is diced tomatoes in tomato juice, not puree, not paste and water, actual tomatoes, listed first, which means by weight they outrank everything else in the jar. Tomato puree comes second, which is normal and fine. Then onions, garlic, sea salt, basil, extra virgin olive oil, oregano. Read that stretch again, because it's what a sauce is supposed to look like. Real tomatoes, real olive oil, not soybean, not canola. No added sugar anywhere on the list. So why is it on this list at all? 2 words at the very end, natural flavor. And this is the part most people misunderstand. Natural flavor sounds like the gentle alternative to artificial flavor, and legally it does have to be derived from a natural source. But it's a category, not an ingredient, a proprietary formulation that can contain dozens of components, and the manufacturer is not required to tell you what any of them are. According to the Environmental Working Group, natural flavor is one of the most common ingredients in the entire packaged food supply, behind only salt, water, and sugar. Here's why that matters in a jar with this ingredient list. If your sauce is built on real diced tomatoes, real olive oil, real garlic and basil, what exactly is the natural flavor doing? Flavor gets added when flavor is missing. Its presence is a small admission that something needed help, and you don't get told what. Barilla is one of the better mainstream options in that aisle, and I'd rather you buy it than most of what's coming. But it's the entry point on this list because it's the mildest version of the same move. Now we go down a level. Number 3. RAGÚ Marinara. Same aisle, same price point, completely different construction. Try this one before you buy it. Tilt the jar slowly and watch how the sauce moves down the glass. A sauce built on real tomatoes moves unevenly, with body in pieces. A reconstructed one flows smooth and uniform, like a single engineered liquid, because that's exactly what it is. The ingredient list opens with tomato puree, water, tomato paste. There's your parenthesis. This sauce started as paste with water added back. Then it stacks. Calcium chloride, a firming agent that helps keep tomato pieces from collapsing into mush. Citric acid, which does double duty as a tartness adjuster and a preservative. And natural flavor again, that same unnamed formulation. Look at what each of those is doing. The firming agent restores structure, the processing removed. The acid restores brightness, the cooking removed. The flavor restores taste, the reconstitution removed. 3 ingredients, all doing repair work on a product that was taken apart and put back together. That's not a sauce that happens to contain additives. That's a sauce that needs them. And every one of those repairs exists because of what's inside that first parenthesis, which brings us to the two biggest names in the aisle, and both of them are worse. Number 2. Prego Traditional. This is one of the most purchased pasta sauces in the United States. It's the jar a lot of us grew up on. And it has one specific problem that you can taste before you ever read a label. Do this. Put a spoonful in your mouth, plain, with no pasta. Most people notice something arrive before the tomato does. A rounded sweetness that sits at the front. Kids tend to love this sauce, and that's not an accident. It was formulated that way. Now the list. Tomato puree, water, tomato paste. Same parenthesis. Then diced tomatoes in tomato juice, which is a genuine positive and worth acknowledging. Then the third ingredient, sugar. Third, not in the contains less than 1% section down at the bottom where the spices live. Above it, in the main body of the list, ranked by weight ahead of everything except the tomato components themselves. And then, where a traditional Italian sauce would use olive oil, this uses canola oil. I want to be precise about why sugar is here, because the reason is more interesting than companies want you addicted. Tomatoes contain natural sugars and natural acid, and in a good tomato they balance each other. When you build a sauce from paste and water instead of ripe fruit, you get the acid without the balance. It reads as sharp and thin. Sugar is the cheapest way to fix that. It's not there to sweeten the sauce. It's there to hide what's missing from it. Here's what makes this entry genuinely useful. Prego sells a no-sugar added version of this exact sauce, and the ingredient list is nearly identical with the sugar removed. Same brand, same shelf, usually similar price. The sweet version isn't a necessity of manufacturing, it's a choice, and there's a version on the shelf that proves it. Number 1. RAGÚ Old World Style Traditional. This is the one I told you about at the start. Decades in American kitchens. The jar your grandmother probably had. And I want to walk through this ingredient list slowly, because the order is the entire story. First ingredient, tomato puree, water, tomato paste. The parenthesis, one more time. Second ingredient, soybean oil. Stop there. In a product whose entire identity is tomatoes, the second heaviest ingredient in the jar is an industrial seed oil. It outranks the salt. It outranks the sugar. It outranks every onion, every clove of garlic, every herb, every spice in the recipe combined. Then, in order, salt, sugar, dried onions, dried garlic, spices, garlic powder, onion powder. Notice what that means. Everything that's supposed to make a sauce taste like something, the aromatics, the herbs, sits below the oil, the salt, and the sugar. And every one of them is dehydrated. Dried onion, dried garlic, garlic powder, onion powder. There's no fresh anything in that jar. Some versions of this line also carry Romano cheese, and once again, natural flavor. Here's what's actually happening. Soybean oil is one of the cheapest fats available at industrial scale, and fat carries flavor and creates the mouthfeel of richness. So the recipe reads like a sequence of substitutions. Paste and water instead of tomatoes, cheap oil instead of olive oil, dehydrated powder instead of fresh aromatics, sugar to paper over the acid, and salt to make the whole thing register on your tongue. None of it is illegal. None of it is dangerous. Every word of it is printed on the jar. It's just that the front of that jar is talking about vine-ripened tomatoes and heritage, and the back is describing an assembly. That's the avoid list. Now let's flip it, because the good news is that fixing this costs less than you'd think, and one of the three is made by a company you just heard me criticize. Real sauce number 3, RAGÚ Simply Traditional. Same company, same brand name on the front, same aisle, often within arm's reach of the jar we just took apart. Read this one. Tomato puree, olive oil, salt, onions, carrots, dehydrated onions, garlic powder, onion powder, spices. No sugar, no soybean oil. Olive oil moved into the second position where the seed oil used to be. Real onions and carrots. Carrots being the traditional way to soften tomato acidity without reaching for the sugar jar, which is exactly what a home cook would do. It still opens with puree, so it isn't perfect by our rule. But this is the single easiest upgrade in the entire aisle. Same brand, same store, roughly the same money, and the two ingredients doing the most damage are simply gone. If you take nothing else from this video, that swap alone is worth the 15 minutes. And it proves something important. None of this is about capability. The same company can make both. It's a decision about which jar goes where on the shelf. Real sauce number 2, Michael's of Brooklyn. This one is a step up in both quality and price, and it's built the way a sauce should be. Italian tomatoes, garlic, basil, olive oil. Short list, recognizable items, nothing doing repair work. Look at what's absent. No sugar, no seed oil, no firming agent, no flavor formulation, no thickener. When the tomatoes are good enough, none of that scaffolding is necessary. And the length of an ingredient list is often just a measure of how much help the main ingredient needed. It costs more than the jars on the avoid list. It should. Whole tomatoes cost more than paste and water, and olive oil costs more than soybean oil. You're paying the difference in the ingredients rather than in the marketing. Real sauce number 1. RAGÚ's homemade marinara. Here's the entire ingredient list, and I want you to count with me. Italian whole peeled tomatoes, olive oil, onions, salt, garlic, basil, black pepper, oregano. 8 ingredients, all of them things you have in your kitchen. And look at the first one, whole peeled tomatoes. Not puree, not paste, not water in a parenthesis. Actual tomatoes went into that jar and nothing was reconstructed. The company states plainly that it's made without tomato blends, tomato paste, water, starches, added colors, or added sugar. And the absence of all of that shows up somewhere you wouldn't expect. Look at the label and you'll find this instruction. Separation may occur. Shake well before using. Most people read that as a flaw. It's the opposite. Sauce separates when there's nothing in it holding the water and oil together. Every stabilizer, gum, and starch in the jars we discussed earlier exists to prevent exactly that. A sauce that separates is a sauce that wasn't engineered not to. The defect is the proof. It's the most expensive jar on this list, and I'm not going to tell you everyone should buy it. A family cooking 3 nights a week is going to feel that price. But if you've ever wondered why restaurant marinara tastes different from what comes out of a jar, that ingredient list is the answer, and it's not a secret technique. It's just tomatoes. So here's the 5-second version, and you can use it on any jar in that aisle, including ones I never mentioned. Read the first ingredient. Whole peeled tomatoes or diced tomatoes means real tomatoes. Tomato puree, water, tomato paste means reconstructed. Read the second ingredient. In a real sauce, this is olive oil or another tomato. If it's soybean oil or canola oil, the cheapest fat available is the heaviest thing in that jar after the tomatoes. Scan for sugar and count how high it sits. Sugar buried in the less than 1% section is seasoning. Sugar listed in the main body in the top 4 is compensation. Scan for the repair crew. Calcium chloride, citric acid, modified food starch, natural flavor. Each one restores something the processing removed. The more of them stacked together, the further that jar traveled from a tomato. And a bonus, because it's genuinely useful. If the label warns you that separation may occur, that's a good sign, not a bad one. None of these sauces is unsafe. Nobody is being poisoned, and if your family loves the jar you've always bought, that's a completely legitimate reason to keep buying it. What this is about is knowing which one you're holding, because the front of every one of these jars is showing you the same Italian hillside, and only one part of the packaging is required to tell you the truth. The picture is the pitch. The parenthesis is the fact. So go look at the jar in your pantry right now and read that first ingredient. Does it say whole tomatoes, or does it say water and tomato paste? Drop a comment with what you found, and if you're switching, tell me what you're switching from and what you're moving to. I genuinely want to see what people are actually reaching for. And if reading a label better than the people who wrote it is your kind of thing, subscribe to Behind the Label. The next jar you pick up, you'll turn it over first.